good morning, and welcome back to another episode of The Closing Table. I'm your host, James Garman.
What's going on?
Yeah, we can hear you. Just wanted to make sure you didn't have no feedback, but yes, everything's good over here, brother. About yourself?
We're all doing fantastic over here, man. I can't believe we're coming to the end of the month.
Oh man, it doesn't take long. 4 episodes a month, bro. That's all we get.
Dude, it's crazy, man.
Four episodes a month is all we get, brother. Other than that, I mean, I think it's been a very productive month. I think it's been a very positive month, when it comes to if we look at everything on the micro side of life. Yeah, we look at everything on a micro side of life. I mean, we can all kind of narrow it down to, not all, but most people can narrow it down to being very positive, very, I guess overall entertaining. There's a lot been going on in the news. But yeah, man, I personally say, man, this month has really been productive, not just for myself, but the team. Everybody who's been moving forward, really being part of this growth. I'm super excited, man. I'm super excited, honestly. Just that's all I could really say.
I'm with you, man. I'm feeling a little old school right now. I feel like our first 1 or 2 episodes, I was in this office working from home here today. It's kind of brings me back to the days where we really didn't know what we were doing. Well, we still don't know what the hell we're doing, but we just roll with it now. But yeah, man.
Indeed.
No, I'm super excited about the whole team and everybody as well, man. You see a lot more communication going on, and a lot more support, really, right? Like that's the most important thing for me right now. I know it sounds crazy, but I'm not overly worried so much about sales and all of that stuff right now. I'm worried about like the team collaboration, the partners working together, and if we can dial that in, the sales come automatically. Like it's a no-brainer. So the numbers have been very consistent over the last 3 months. The support and the training between all the partners and stuff is amazing, man. I'm super stoked. James, you're doing a great job. You and the wife working that and all the marketing material and all of that stuff. So I know you're not exactly where you want to be yet, but I'm sure you feel that you're on the right path, my friend. So it's super exciting, this journey.
Yes, indeed. And again, having everybody be a part of what we're doing is super amazing. And again, we come a long way, not with just the team, but the show as well. We are episode number 47. The Great Reset is closer than we think. And that's one of the things that I definitely wanted to make sure we capitalized on when it comes to our growth, is making sure that we don't try to disdain ourselves from giving the people our true opinions on life. Because again, we can sit around and talk about interest rates all day. We can sit around and talk about interest rates. We can sit around and talk about different ways you can put yourself in this position. We can do this and you can do that to get ahead. Overall, I think the biggest thing that we can give our audience, and especially in these times, is some true outputs from what's really happening in the world. And we've talked about this a few times, the Great Reset, and how this could affect everyone, and pretty much what that looks like. So I think we will be doing we will be dishonest to not put this in front of our people, on top of everything we talk about when it comes to real estate, insurance, mortgage, all of that good stuff. But I think
all that good stuff, brother. I think all that good stuff, man.
I think we'll be doing an injustice if we didn't put this out there and let people know that everything is not always rainbows and sunshine. You know what I'm saying? Because we are headed in a direction where things are getting complicated, convoluted. Just overall, there's corrosion happening at the battery post, at the main source, and we have to make sure we address that accordingly as well. So again, thank everybody. Thank you all for joining us for, again, episode number 47. Episode number 47. The Great Reset is closer than we think. If you are new here, please hit that like button, that subscribe button, notification bell to make sure you're notified every time we go live in the future. Yes, B. Walker. Good morning from California. Up at 3 a.m.
Oh man.
Yes, up at 3 a.m.
Oh, we coming
Destiny's
home? Are we coming home today? I hope we're catching a plane soon, so that way
oh,
we can
it's
sleep.
technically tonight, so the day
Oh,
will be over with. Yeah. Um,
oh man,
so
I'm not gonna bother her tomorrow. I'm gonna leave her alone. Okay.
indeed. What about Destiny? Is Destiny? Oh, tomorrow's her birthday as well. So happy, yeah, early birthday.
She
Um,
is she's down in Miami on a claim, so so that's why we're working from home today, so that we can get the little one to school. We got to drop the car off. Yeah, we got a lot going on this morning. We got a meeting at 8:30. We got a meeting at 10 o'clock. So it's jam packed, my friend, jam packed.
oh yeah, it's definitely jam packed, and that's the way it needs to be, right? I mean, it keeps
Yeah.
the motor running, keeps everything oiled and greased up. you know,
Yeah, exactly, man. Exactly. It's funny, James, kind of feeding off what you just talked about, like with our show and all of that stuff. I've been asked a couple of times now, like with my local grocery store and my local convenience store, and even friends have come over. They're like, what's the show all about? And I'm like, look, I'm going to tell you, like, we're going to hit all the hot topics. We're going to hit topics that aren't easy to discuss. And sometimes it's just going to throw you off your game. And that's just the way that it is, because again, that's where we live right now. That's, those are the times that things are unexpected. And you got to be, unfortunately, you got to be on your toes, man. Right. And like, you gotta be willing to move and, take the good, take the bad. So, I'm loving it, man. I really am.
indeed, and I'm glad you brought that up because again, these topics are not easy to have. These conversations are not easy to have because of where we are in our society today. And like last week, we talked about the ESG score, the CRTs, and again, it's causing so much back and forth between people and between individuals that it feels like we're losing a grasp, or we losing our grip on what we're familiar with. And I don't know if that's a good thing, and I don't know if honestly, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, because again, the people are selling so many different outcomes. We really don't know what's what, and that's one of the things I want to get into a little bit during throughout this conversation, Daniel. But first of all, I definitely think we need to just kind of jump in and kind of let's talk about the new money situation. And this is because I feel like, and I'm pretty sure you would totally agree, most of our society, we are on the borderlines of having a new form of currency, whether it's the unicorn between the government with the Chinese government, American government, and Russia and all these other places coming together. The unicorn, which is really a distinctive but weird kind of notion, but it makes sense. The united coin, the one world currency to offset cryptocurrency or any other digitalized currency, because they don't want us to have the freedom to choose what currency we're using to buy our goods and services, which makes sense. I mean, the government is going to do what they need to do to offset anything that they find as a threat, so them coming up with the unicorn makes sense. But now also on top of that, we have people like or places like Texas who are looking to do their own digital currency. I don't think they came up with a name with it yet. I have to do more research myself personally, but they're looking to at least back their digital currency with gold. I love that idea. I love that notion. I mean, it makes sense to me. Robert Kiyosaki preaches the gold currency, God's money. He preaches that gold and silver is the ultimate currency. We just lose track of that and lose faith in that because of the government's control of majority, or the Fed's control of majority of the gold and silver in our
James, that's one thing that excuse me, that's one thing that I don't understand, right? Like Texas, it's great in theory, but if Texas wants to back their money in gold in Texas, what does that do for all the other 49 states? Like if they don't use gold to back their currency and stuff. So when we go to Texas, what happens when people leave Texas and go outside? Like, I mean, is this something that's happened before in the states, where a state said, hey, we're going to, all the currency in our state, we're going to back it with gold? I think it's a very long shot. I think you have to have more than one state to commit that. I don't think the U.S. government's going to allow that to happen. It's great in theory, Texas, but I definitely think it gets No, it keeps getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back.
And no, I totally agree with what you're stating
I get the
overall.
countries, James. I get the countries doing that, right? Because they're all committed. But one out of 50, that's a tough.
Indeed, and I totally agree with what you're stating. And how does it make sense? And B Walker just put it in the comment section as well, and that's what I was going to go to. Texas may secede from the union, and we have to all we I guess the basis of the conversation for most people, we have to get back to the root of what American society is. America is only um, created because people decided, or countries, or not cities, not countries, but cities or states decided to unionize. We decided to come together as one. All 50 decided to come together as one. We got to realize we was only 13 at one point, and not everybody was a part of the American society. Mississippi wasn't at one point. That's why they had to go to war and have a civil war. That's why we had to do so much over the years to cultivate what we consider now the great gathering of the states. American society has only had this contract in place for 100, 200, 100 plus years. Like, they haven't had this contract in place forever. Do they have the right to secede? Yes, a city or a state or cities and have the right to secede if they're willing to go to war for it as well, because they can secede. But will America allow them to secede? Sure. I mean, they will. At what cost is the question.
I feel like this is like a Ted Cruz propaganda kind of let's defy. We don't know who's going to be president. If it's going to be Trump, but we don't like him because he talks bad about me. Biden's the worst president of all time, blah, blah, blah. I think that's where we're headed. I think this is a Ted Cruz ploy, man. Like, that guy, I looked it up after I was watching it, and I'm like, he's there sitting at the Senate, he's always trying to come up with some other things. Ted Cruz is not my favorite, by the way. So.
And listen, I would have, and I can relate to what you're saying. But overall, I definitely don't think this is just a ploy, because I mean, again, we are headed to in a direction where this great reset could look so many different ways. We say, okay, financially, we could go back to this and do that. We can go back to a bartering system where people are, hey, let me get commerce off of you through this format or through this format. But overall, though, Florida has tried to secede multiple times from the union. This is not the first time we've heard a state willing to secede for their future sake. So, I mean, I don't think this is something that is new. I think this is something that is being revisited because people don't have the trust in the collective like they used to. So,
is Ted Cruz's name in the running for president?
Yeah,
it is. He's just trying to make some name for himself to show the world, hey, look, I can come up with my own currency. We can do it this way. It'll be backed by gold, so that he could win some votes. I think this falls flat on its face, and somewhere behind this, Ted Cruz is behind it. Anything in Texas, Ted Cruz has something to do with it. So,
but they have a solid basis. Don't think they have a solid basis for this? I mean,
I do, but I don't think one state can do it. You've got to have a commitment, and I just don't think that the government allows it.
I mean, the question is there enough resources coming into Texas to sustain? That's the question. The question is, what is coming out of Texas and what is coming into Texas? Well, we have to think about all the oil fields that are in Texas. I know we're trying to get away from using oil, but oil is always going to be used in some form or fashion. So is there enough resources coming out of Texas to sustain this? I think there is. I think there's enough import-export in Texas to sustain this as a citywide or statewide action. So for me, yes, it's broad, but now you have their whole Congress in Texas passing this or getting this passed through. So I think this will not only spark a new currency for Texas, but this can also spark a new currency for any state that is relatively mirroring what Texas could do. I mean, again, Florida, you have Florida. Florida is right now, they're creating new laws that are so opposite of the rest of the states.
I mean, they're all trying to make names for themselves, man.
Yeah, I can see this.
Look what I did.
But do we need it? Is the question. Do we need a new approach if the Great Reset happens? Do we need a new approach?
I don't know, man. I don't have an answer for that, man. I am jumping in, doing the research on this here. I mean, I think we need a lot more than just Texas to make it work. If the reset, hits rock bottom, because I don't know what rock bottom is. I don't think anybody knows what rock bottom is with the reset. I just, again, I think it's a very long shot. I know that, in Florida, Mr. DeSantis is coming up and making changes and all of that stuff. And I think all the governors are right now, or anyone that's running for presidency. I think they're just trying to get something pushed through so that they can talk about and say, look what I did. Come August, I think it's August 6th. I could be wrong. But with that first debate, I really think that that's what they're going to do is, hey, look what I'm doing in my home state. Like, that's the topic that they're going to talk about. Anytime somebody pushes their button in that debate, they're going to be like, oh, well, look what I'm doing that you're not doing in my state. And I think that's what's coming on. I think this is all material for them to use in their debates moving forward, coming up for the reelection.
And again, I can relate to that. Bernadette actually said, she honestly completely sold on Ron DeSantis. She has a real weird feeling about him, to be honest. She trusts Robert Kennedy before she trusts Ron. I like Ron, but I feel like he a cave to the swamp.
I agree. So two things, right? Like, I think I just saw it this morning. A most recent poll, right, was Trump leading Ron DeSantis like 44 to 21%. And then
Kennedy.
Yeah, no, it wasn't even Kennedy at that point. It was Pence.
Pence
at like 5%. Like, I mean, that's a wash. Like,
that's a wash.
I don't even understand that, but that's okay. Like, and then what they said is if it was Biden and Trump, and this is hard to believe, Biden 49%, Trump 44%. Again,
propaganda.
Yeah, yep. And then if it was Biden versus DeSantis, you're looking at 49, 48, 40, 49, 47 or something like that, like really close, almost tied. So I don't know. Kennedy, I don't know too much about him. I just started watching him and kind of like dialing things in with him. So I can't
Super popular
give my
guy.
opinion.
Super
I can't give my opinion. I mean, I think he's running on his name just like Bush did.
I mean, that's true, but super, super popular guy right now. I mean, even though he's quote unquote Democrat, he has Republican outlooks on, when it comes to the vaccinations, different type of things like that. The guy's freaking ripped, man, to be freaking 50 something years old. Like, he's
how long has he been in the race?
He just really threw his name in the ballot not too long ago. But I'm just saying, like, overall, his demeanor. Oh, he and again, name recognition does play a part. Name recognition definitely plays a part. But overall, I think his basis is no different than Trump basis, even though he's running from a Democratic standpoint. That's the difference, I think, when it comes down to Robert Kennedy. He's saying what people want to hear, and it comes off better than how Trump speaks. So, I mean, same with DeSantis. DeSantis have done a lot of amazing stuff in my eyes over the last few months. I mean, especially changing a lot of the laws that's in Florida. Made me want to move to Florida, as I mentioned to you multiple times. But overall,
I think DeSantis, though, James, may be just a tad bit early, right? But it's okay.
I think he may be a tad bit early. I do think that.
You know what I'm saying? The one thing that I don't want to see him do is because I don't want to see him jump into it in the debates and get into this big argument and name calling and all of that stuff. Just play it right, win or lose, grab the experience, because in 4 years, if you keep doing what you're doing in the state of Florida, it's going to show. It's going to show. Now you're traveling. You understand what you have to do. You can go to these speaking events outside of Florida, and you've got 4 years to put your name out there. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, there's no candidate out here is going to run on a clean campaign. I mean, a clean campaign just doesn't make sense. I mean, Joe Biden tried to get his hands dirty, and he had people getting his hands dirty for him. He didn't have to say things blatantly himself. Overall, I think no one can play this game without getting dirty, and that's just part of it. And at this point, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it because we can't change it. I mean, let's move forward and talk about
real quick. 49-44 in a recent poll, JFK with Biden. 49-44 JFK.
JFK. I told you he's more popular at this point. He's more popular at this point, and he's popular off the namesake. But he's also saying things that Trump would have said, but he's saying it from a Democratic perspective. That's the same way Arnold Schwarzenegger won his second term. His first term, he was straight Republican. He was fully Republican, but then he surrounded himself with Democrats. Once he was able to do that and start to pan between the Democrat Party and the Republican Party and create balance, he was an easy win for his second term. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to have a balance when it comes to these things, and especially you have to test the water. You have to test.
It wasn't the voice.
No, it wasn't all the voice, but definitely, overall is having the right approach at the right time, understanding where we are economically in society to approach it the way it needs to be approached. So that's what I'm saying. Like, all of this stuff is, it's all a misguided approach. It's a misguided approach in our society. It's creating propaganda. Propaganda misguides our society all the time. So for me, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this topic up, and talk about the misguided society for America, and not just America, but overall everything. Lately, we've had conversations about aliens. We've had a conversation about the submarine, but what was that really all about? Honestly, that was really a misguided approach to keep our eyes off the prize. The prize is what's going on in Russia, Ukraine, and the rest of the world right now. Because if we really talk about it and we really get into deep details, that whole submarine thing was a ploy to keep our eyes off the Biden situation, the Hunter Biden situation, off of the Russian situation, because right now we have a possible war within Russia, a coup going on between the Wagner Group and Putin, which is a huge threat that could pop off and create something of huge magnitude that I don't think we're ready for. I don't think we're ready for it at all. But right now, what we have is American people screaming, yes, take Putin out, take Putin out. Yes, I'm glad this is happening. But people don't understand the risk of that. We don't understand what's really at risk if these Wagner group actually goes to war with Putin. It's going to be devastating because, again, from my understanding, this guy, I don't speak Russian, but Yusuf Porsigui is really dangerous, like super dangerous. They say he's 10 times worse than Putin at this point. So,
and he's trying to overthrow Putin.
Yes, his best friend. They grew up
inside Russia.
Inside Russia.
So Russia and Ukraine are fighting over here, and this guy's inside Russia saying, "Hey, Putin's probably at his weakest point right now.
Yep.
Everybody's deployed.
Yep.
Let's jump in."
Yeah, because
didn't they take over a city or drive through a city or whatever?
They just took over Moscow. They took over the capital of Russia. They just literally took over the capital of Russia. So yes, all of this has something to. This is bigger. This is bigger than what people are thinking.
Do the BRICS kick them out, and we go to 4 instead of 5?
No, we went to 6 and 7.
Do we kick him out if this is going on in Russia?
Oh, that's what they're thinking. That's what they're thinking.
They better.
I mean, because
especially if this guy's worse.
Oh, he's worse. But see, that's the thing about it. It's like we are now, I guarantee you, over the next 2 weeks, you're going to see a massive amount of articles from people saying, I'm glad Putin is at war with his own people. I'm glad Putin is at war with the Wagner Group or the Wagner Group. I think it's called Wagner, if I'm pronouncing it.
What is it?
Wagner, Wagner Group. It's spelled Wagner, but it's pronounced Wagner Group.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm sure you will hear this over and over again over the next few months, how Putin is going to be destroyed by his own people. So the Wagner Group is a mercenary group for Russia. Putin literally, he's been with Putin since like the early 2000s or mid 2000s, like 2012, 2014. They call him Chef They call him Putin's chef because he's a servant. He definitely goes out there and pretty much kills people. Putin needs to
He
be
does
knocked
all
off.
the dirty work.
Yeah, does all the dirty work. Now, a guy like this, a person who has been put in place, who is willing to go to any country, and go to war and create other wars, small wars, and also create chaos. He's no different. Again, the Wagner Group is no different than our CIA. You know, they do the same thing our CIA do, but they do it for Russia. But now, you know, they're coming to heads, and you know, they feel like you just mentioned, Putin is weak, and now they want to attack Putin and say, "Hey, we helped you take over Ukraine or try to take over Ukraine. You are losing this war. We need a stronger leader, and I'm that stronger leader." But they're blaming it on an attack that happened that killed some Wagner Group army members, and they're saying that attack came from the side of Putin. It came from Russia. So he's wanting to retaliate over that, but he's not fully saying that. But that's pretty much what it comes down to. But you're not hearing this on the news like that. They're not blasting this across the news. They're not blasting this as if this is something mainstream. But the moment it becomes mainstream, it's already in phase 3, 4, and 5.
Yep. I was getting ready to say it's already, 3 weeks behind. So
yeah. So by the time the mainstream actually start to hear about this, by the time people like, my mom or my cousins, just everyday working people really start to focus in on this, it's already done. Putin is already quote unquote weak. They think he has cancer. So if this man does go to war and puts his all into this war, we could see a nuclear strike. I'm not trying to cause fear, but this is some things that we are not focused on, because we're too focused on being misguided. We are too focused on being worried about aliens touching down in somebody's backyard, which we can't prove. Then we also worried about a lost submarine that blew up a whole week prior to them actually finding it or telling us what really happened. Like, they knew about this a week ago.
Yeah, and there was a ship out there that was doing something. I don't know what it was, but was in range of hearing any type of implosion or anything like that with the sonar system and everything that they have, right? Like, now it's all coming out. And of course, there's all types of YouTube videos and news outlets talking about, they knew it before and all of that stuff. There's no way they couldn't have heard it, stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely crazy, man. It's, we don't really talk about the Hunter Biden situation anymore. Like, that's just kind of like water under the bridge, and it just happened last week. So,
right, because that's how fast we are misguided to focus on stuff that really has no basis, that really has no structure in moving forward and helping America become or continue to be a powerhouse. So yes, mainstream media is overrun with agenda, with propaganda. That's why the 6.5 billion in accounting era happened, because again, it's funding a proxy war. This is going to the globalists. This money is not lost. This money is not lost. This is money laundering at its finest. Pack it into a war, get it out on the other end. That's what they've been doing. That's what they're going to continue to do. And honestly, I mean, it's a perfect plan, because people are so weak. We are so weak, and that's going to take us into our next topic: the new fabric, the new American fabric. What are we? Who are we? What is our identity? That's the question that is needed to be answered. That's the conversation that's needed to be had, because I don't think we even know who or what we are. And honestly, let's talk about it a little bit. The new American fabric. My perspective is we're soft, we're entitled, we're easily misled, we're hypersensitive, we have a disproportionality, which means overall everybody's out of sync with what the American society is, what the American goal is or should be. We're all out of sync with the American way. All right. Then we overtly misguided. overtly, like literally out in the open. Nobody's hiding it. They're literally telling you how they're misguiding you and how they're lying to you and how they're telling you this and that. And again, I don't want to sound like one of those conspiracy theorists who said they, but it is what it is. If you do your research, you can see that not everybody is for America. Not everybody is for the American way, for the American approach, for our democracy. And if you're blind to that, then I'm being honest. Like, you need to open your eyes and see exactly what's going on. And then we're lazy. I mean, we can't forget that we are lazy as shit. Like, nobody's working anymore. Everything that we are producing is being produced by third world countries.
Correct.
And people who are making pennies on a dollar, and while we're sitting at home just purchasing our own goods. Our goods is being produced by other people, then we spend all our money purchasing the stuff that we should be producing. It makes no sense.
James, I 100% have to agree with you on pretty much every single one of those responses, right? I think we are a country run by the media. And
Yes.
that is sad, my friend.
Sad.
It's really,
Sad.
really sad is that that's what we rely on. Like, the hell with books. They don't mean anything. Let's just listen to what he or she says on TV because that's the truth.
Because they're on TV.
Exactly, man. Like,
they're on TV.
That is scary. That's what we rely. That's what we rely for our facts from, is that information. And it's scary until you start to realize that. And again, I'm not better than anybody else when it comes to that. It was just last year that I stopped watching the news. I only watch the local news so I can find out what my weather is like, because I live in Florida, and during the summer, I want to know what my rain percentage chances are, right? If I'm going to get rained out or not. But anything else is little tidbits of information here and there, and they only give you what they want you to hear, and not the true story. There's no way any story can be told in 30 seconds. You are not going to get all the facts and all of that stuff. So that's what scares me about this new American fabric, right? Weak 100%. We are very vulnerable. We stick our nose into a lot of places, and a lot more places where we shouldn't be sticking our nose in. I'm not saying that we shouldn't help certain situations, but we do not need to have our hands and feet in everything that is out there. And that scares me a lot, especially being a father of kids. And, the new generation that's coming, what scares me is that they don't know how to have conversations. It's very difficult. And I know that's a small, minute little thing, probably with everything that's going on. But
I don't think it's minute at all, because I think we are in a hypersensitive world. Like I mentioned here, hypersensitivity, the woe me mentality got everybody thinking like, oh, it's, no, what about me? What about, it's creating this misinformed, world where everybody has their own perspectives. And I used to say this myself, but I didn't know that it was going to lead to this. My truth shit really causes people to create so many outcomes and so many diluted truths that we don't have an overall truth to what we should be doing. No, I'm too sensitive, so my truth is this. I'm too soft, so my truth is this. And if I try to tell you my truth, well, that's how you feel, but it hurts everybody else. Like, this is creating what you just said, the miscommunication in our society. And as long as we continue with this down this road, we're going to continue to be dwindled down to nothing, because we can't speak to each other in a way without hurting someone's feelings. That's the truth about it all. So I totally
you're absolutely right, James. Like that, I mean, it is sensitive. Everybody, you got to walk on eggshells, because if you say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing or bump into somebody, it's this whole big, oh my God, it's over. It's all that stuff. It is. It's the sensitivity of America, and it's a little scary in my book, my friend. There's too much of these going on, in not enough education in understanding the values in what America was meant to be. Right,
well, meant to be, no matter what it was founded on. The founding,
correct.
Yeah, the founding of America, yeah, it might have had its shady ways. It may have had some some uncivilized ways of approaching some situations, and probably treated some people really freaking bad.
Yeah,
but we have
obviously
right.
Yeah.
We have grown, and we should have now come to a conclusion in some form of fashion that has created a new way of life that didn't stray so far away from our democracy. Because I think that's what people are trying to really, they claim they want a democracy, but then I think what they really want is that equality that takes away from democracy, which is considered communism at that point, socialism at its finest, where everybody equal, your pay is my pay. No matter how hard I work, I get paid what you get paid. No matter what you do, you can't have more money than me. You can't live better than me. You mentioned it just a second ago. You said you was no better than someone because, maybe you don't read or do this and that. But that's the thing. If I read a little bit more than the next person, that makes me a better reader. Like, it's okay for us to have titles because we have worked to have those titles. If I win a national championship, I think I'm better because I worked a little harder. You shouldn't get the same damn trophy as me. And that's the thing about our society, is that we constantly give our power over on we want to equalize power. We can't.
Second place for James, nobody gets a trophy.
Nobody gets a trophy.
You get a piece of paper that says, "Thank you for trying."
Thank you for trying, but you didn't win. That's what it should say.
I agree with you, James.
But you're not a winner. I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't grow up in a society where those things were handed down, and I think that's part of our, again, entitlement here in America. We're so entitled that we feel like, and again, America has created this entitlement so we sit around and just wait for our championships. We sit around and wait for our glory, and it's handed to us on the small pieces that people think all of those little pieces of glory that they're getting is going to equal up to something major, and I can't relate to that. I'm sorry. I worked hard to get where I'm at. And for those who don't work as hard, I don't think you deserve what I have. I don't think you deserve what someone else who worked twice as harder have. I just can't agree with that on no field.
I'm the feeling is mutual, right? Like I agree. I wake up every single morning. I have a routine. You have a routine. It is, there's not an end in sight for us because we continue to grow and continue to push the limit and to make things happen. And not everybody has that mindset, but that's because I think a lot of people read into all the conspiracies. They read into, watch and listen to all the bad stuff, and that the economy is crashing, and, you can't make money in this economy right now. You can't go to school. You can't afford it, all of that stuff. And we put that out there. If you just change that mindset and really dial things in and just change one or two of those major crazy habits, it would open up a whole different world, and you could potentially have a better outlook on things. So
why do you think we are so easily misled these days? Like, why do you think that it's so easily for people to fall victim to other people's disproportionate, mindsets? Like, is it comfortable? I mean, are they comfortable? What is it?
James, this is a great question. I'm just going to kind of look at my surroundings and stuff like that to try to answer that the best that I can. Right. I think sometimes us as parents, we failed. I know growing up as a kid, I was pushed to go outside. I was pushed to shake hands. I was pushed to go and work and not get paid for it. And, get dirty and sweaty and all of that stuff. And I think now with technology and the way things are now, it is so much easier just to put your feet up, relax, and be like, you know what? Somebody will take care of it for me. And that's kind of where we are. Whereas I think when you and I were growing up, it was, our mothers, grandmothers, grandfathers, aunts, uncles, whomever was out there, working and trying to live that American dream, whatever your American dream is, right? And I think nowadays people sit back and just relax, and there's so many different handouts and stuff like that. And some people deserve those handouts because of disabilities, whatever it may be. And I get that, and I totally respect that. But I think there's a lot of younger people that feel, mom and dad will take care of it, grandparents will take care of it, or the government will take care of it. And it's sad. It's sad.
And I know you mentioned that, you said we fell as parents. Would you agree that this generation over the last 20 plus years generation that created this now misled generation of youth? Because I don't think it's all youth. I don't think it's all just the youth. I think it's grown ass people who are our ages who are still falling, victims. So, and again, we grew up in the 70s, the 80s. We should have been the babies or the people who had a profound outlook technology wise, sure, but we were still taught how to work. We were still taught how to build our country and how to build our society. I guess my thing is, it's like, well, let me state this.
Well, while you're thinking, I want to just say that, I know myself that I would push a tablet or a computer and stuff like that. Right. And so if they're a child and that's what we did, hey, go watch a video, go play on your tablet, go play on your computer, while mom and dad and friends are conversating and having conversations. My kids and my cousins and nieces and all of them in my family, I mean, they all have their phones, they all have their tablets. They are geared towards those things. And so I feel that we did cause that a little bit, and that's okay. Like, you got to learn from your mistakes. I wouldn't do it again. I would limit it, but this is where they will forget to brush their teeth or their hair or take a shower or put their deodorant on before they forget their tablet, their phone, or their computer. Like, that's just scary. Where you and I, we didn't care if we didn't brush our teeth. Or if we had deodorant, we just wanted to be outside. We wanted to go and have fun and stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying. I feel like that was the one thing as a parent that I messed up on. I didn't do more reading. I didn't do more or have them do more hands-on stuff like that. It was get your phone, get your tablet, stuff like that.
Understood. And again, I relate to that. I get where you're coming from. I think it's more, if I want to blame us as parents, I think I want to blame us as parents because we didn't do more to attack the school systems. I think we didn't do enough to insert ourselves as parents who stopped the unionization of teachers. We should have paid teachers more. We should have made sure that those teachers got the proper respect in the school that they deserved. But what we did was treat school like a daycare.
Wasn't there a law passed or something like that? Everybody passes.
Forward. Yes. No child left behind.
There you go. No child left behind. That was like, I think my daughter was like in sixth grade or something like that when it came about or something. I don't know. Maybe even longer than that. I don't know.
Yeah, it probably been around there because again, I think my daughter was in that age, in that area, and that's in that grade during that time. But stuff like that, no child left behind, things like that created, and not even that. Now, I personally, again, I don't remember ever going to a parent teachers conference. I don't remember ever my mother going to a parent teachers conference. I don't remember
that was last week's conversation on Monday after Father's Day, James.
Like, honestly, I don't remember anybody in my family saying I have to go to a parents teachers conference. those things were meetings for parents to come in, not only to see what their kids were doing and how their kids were functioning, but to have conversations on where school and the leadership of school members, like teachers, principals, were going.
2001, James.
2001? Yep.
Wow.
Damn, that was before my daughter was even born.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, again, they eased it in. My mother, I think my mother was afraid to go to the school because only time she got called to the school is when somebody was in trouble. And if she got called to the school because somebody was in trouble, and then I go home and get my ass beat, and I come to school the next day, and I have bruises or I'm sad, they want to ask me, what's wrong, James? Well, you call my damn mom on me. Call my mother on me. She beat my ass because you called them. And I come to school the next day and you asking me why I'm sad. And, oh, well, everything's all right at home. Well, yeah, everything's okay, but I just got my ass beat. Now you want to call social services. Now social services at my mom's door. And, this is what I'm saying. Like, I think we should have, it should have been more activity in the school systems through the parents to be more involved, because they eased all of this into our life. They eased all of this into our society. And we just gave up and just allowed the school to be a daycare. Our kids go there. They go there and do what they're supposed to do. If they don't, they get sent home a report card. That report card is reflected to your parents. Your parents ask you why you're not passing. Then they send you back to school to continue to fail. But nobody's actually going to school to say, hey, my child needs this. Maybe we need to keep things like wood shop, keep these type of activities going on in school, because not every child needs to sit in a classroom for 8 hours and focus on a whiteboard. That helps create ADHD. That help create these kids who have these situations where they call them behavior issues. So I'm saying we have failed at a deeper level than just, I think, stop putting a laptop or an iPad in front of them. I think they needed more creativity at school.
James, one thing I don't like right now about school, and I know my kids will hate this, right? But one thing I don't like is that now kids can go to school. And Sage tried this. Sage was like, Dad, it's my senior year. I only want to go to school for first and second period, and then I'm going to go work. And I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. Like, so they try to get these kids out of school and go and work in these jobs. And that's fantastic that they're working. But a young mind, $400 a week, $500 a week, $600 a week is a lot of money to them.
They're going to get comfortable, bro.
They're going to get very comfortable, 100%.
My daughter did ask me the same thing. Can I not go? Only got to go to school for 3 periods, but you're going to stay there all day. Find something to learn. Go to library.
James, I said the same thing. I said, look, 2 things is the reason why I don't agree with that. And I said, if I catch you doing that and your schedule mimics that, I said, we will go to school and I will put you in 10 classes. Like, that will be the rule. I was like, you're not going to have any social skills. And when you get out, you're going to wish that you were back in school, because it's a real world out here. And when you've got to start paying bills on your own, it's a different story, my friend. It's a different story.
I literally, my daughter told me yesterday, Dad, what I'm doing for my 18th birthday. I said, I don't give a damn what you do for your 18th birthday. If you want to go to Miami, hang with your friends, spend all your work money that you just worked for, just know when you're ready to get out of school and you don't want, it's time to pay bills. I'm sorry, but as long as you're in school, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, I don't mind taking care of you.
100%, 100%, man.
But the moment you say I'm 18 and I'm grown, well, nice to know that. Rent is this much. Cell phone bill is this much. Oh, you like TV? Well, guess what? Your portion of the TV bill is this. You like food? Well, you no longer get to eat my food. You have to survive yourself.
Those are all cheap. Wait till the insurance costs.
Insurance. Insurance. Oh, you want a car? You want a $300 insurance because you're 18 and they don't trust you to drive in these streets? Yeah. Sure. Your whole 2-week check that you worked hard for, that's $700-800 is gone with a couple swipes. No, not even a couple swipes. Auto drafts, because it's automatically coming out your account. Yeah. So by the time you actually look at it, when you go to bed and you see $800 in your account and you wake up and it's only $320 because everything has been auto drafted out, you're going to realize why you shouldn't have grown up so fast. They didn't teach us that.
How scary is it? Talking about those auto drafts, how scary is it now? There are some banks that says, oh, if you overdraft your account, we'll give you 24 or 48 hours to put money back in.
Really?
Without any penalties or whatever. I'm like, what are we teaching here? Like
so we give credit to everybody now. Everybody gets credit. 24-hour, 48-hour credit. That's what we're doing.
You know, I mean, but James, what's the same? Because I know a kid growing up on Thursday, we would go to the grocery store and we would write a check. And hopefully that check cashes tomorrow when the money gets deposited.
Yes. Like, now, don't get me wrong. We've all done
I mean, I love my mother, but that's what we did. That's what
the penalties were a little bit more stiff, you know? Like, so like people go to jail for writing bad checks, you know?
We would go, James, we would go to the grocery store at 8:45 at night. So that the store closes at 9. That check would not go in until tomorrow. Okay?
Yes. That's smart though. I mean, listen, when you come from it, you live by it, you know, those times. But again, those times taught you. I remember, oh man, going to the grocery store, and I don't know if I'm pretty sure, you remember the book of food stamps, where you had to rip out the actual coupon.
And make sure nobody was in line.
Make sure nobody was in line.
I'd be stretching so that I could see my mother doing it, you know?
Like, hey, just stand right there. Let me get them out my pocketbook, you know? Even now, like, people don't have a shame. Man, people walking there every day. I got my card. Like, people have no shame with that stuff anymore. I think the difference was that people shamed you back then. And now people just like, I have one too. Look, I have one. Even though everybody in the grocery store may have had a book of food stamps, we didn't want anybody else know that we were.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Now everybody's walking in saying, girl, how much you got on yours? I got this on mine. Like, they're now comparing how much they get.
I like it like where they're like, somebody will say, you can't purchase that. Like, they'll use their card and they've got beer. And they're like, no, you can't purchase that. Like, how many times have you tried that and it's not worked? Like,
yeah, you keep going in line trying to buy beer with your food stamps, man. But listen, other than that, man, great conversation. I want to say thank you again, and everybody else out there who's been supporting the channel. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, notification bell. And we appreciate everybody that jumps in the comment section. Feel free to always bring your insights. But with that being said, we're gonna get up out of here. We got a busy day today.
Busy day, my friend. Yes.
And again, this was the closing table, and please drop a comment below once this ends, or share this with somebody on Facebook that may benefit from this conversation. Other than that, listen, have a great day, everybody.
Have a good one. See y'all later.